to the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar, point you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on Monday. It's Man Talk Monday. Woo!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are in the house. Mondays. We back once again, ladies and gentlemen, for another hot one. Another hot one. Hope you're ready. Hope you're ready. I'm Derek, the thought engineer, here with my man, comedian John Yogi. How's it going, man? Looking back to that jungle love, huh?
Yes, sir. Hey, man, another Monday has came, man, and ready to get up, but they're coming fast, ain't they? They're coming fast, bro.
We passed the halfway point in the year already.
Already, man. For real, man. For real. But hey, I'm ready to go, brother. I'm ready to go.
Super fast.
Yeah.
All right. So let me do what I need to do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Man Talk Mondays. It's an open forum where we talk about everything from religion to politics to relationships. But of course, we're doing this from a man's perspective. Now, keep in mind, this is not just for men, but we want everybody to participate. Men, women, boys, and girls. We want you to join the conversation. Now, how you do this, you simply go, drop your question, drop your comment in the comment section. We can see this. And this is how you talk to us. This is how you let us know your opinion, your thoughts, how you feel about the subject matter at hand. But by all means, we want you to talk to us, right? This is us having a conversation. So don't forget to go and drop the comments in there. Let us know how you feel, right? Before we get into all of that, ladies and gentlemen, Man Talk Monday news.
This is John D. Blackman, and tonight's top story is, would you please, y'all, get your kids? Listen, whenever they're having gatherings or picnics, because we're coming up on that time, get your kids. Y'all letting your kids go in front of the line. They taking all the ribs. They getting the big piece of the chicken. They got water bottles everywhere. They got half-drink sodas. You ain't at your house. If that's what you do at your house, you keep that at your house. Don't do that when you go to somebody else's picnic or something. Watch and get your kids. See, I'm old school, and it was a reason why kids waited till the adults went first, because they would take the ribs and eat half the ribs. And you'll be looking like, boy, all that meat on that bone, if you don't sit down somewhere, it ain't nothing worse than them getting the wings, and they playing with the wings. You got to be a professional to know how to eat a chicken wing, and kids don't know how to do that. So this is doing your man, John D. Blackman. Would you please do something with your kids? Good evening and good night.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that. Bruh, you better not grab the big piece of chicken and you 4 years old.
Hey, they just let them do what they want to do, D. They just let them do what they want to do,
man.
Then
they look at you crazy if you fighting a little kid over some food. You know what I'm saying?
You finna give me back that breast. You finna give me back that breast.
Cause you ain't gonna do nothing with it. But
You ain't gonna do nothing with it and play over it, man. Get y'all kids. Would y'all get y'all kids, please?
I know, man. They got to do something with the kids.
Yes,
Something with
brother.
the kids.
Something.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you, make sure you subscribe to our podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, many different platforms. Go subscribe. Listen to us more than just Mondays, right? We're on more days than Mondays. So
Go every day.
Go check us out on our podcast, right?
We're on every day.
Also, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Let everybody know you like what we doing, right? You like what we doing, tell somebody else.
Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish.
Exactly. Do not be selfish. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is our segment where we call Man Talk About It. This is where we talk about current events, some things that's happening. Also, don't forget, you got a particular thing that you want us to discuss. You got something that's happening with you in your life. You want a man's perspective on it, you want us to talk about it. You can just simply drop us an email. Go to mantalkmondays1@gmail.com. Send us your letter. Everything is anonymous. We don't tell people who you are. We're going to keep that under wraps, right? So you have that security that we ain't going to put your business in the streets, right? So if you write us that you sleeping with somebody's husband, we ain't going to say your name. We ain't going to say no.
We ain't got to. We ain't got to. They're going to find out anyway. We ain't got to say nothing.
Your days are numbered.
That's what we talking about.
So we just take some current events to talk about them. I don't know how many of you have heard, how many of you know, but Frankie, Miss Frankie, Keisha Cole's mom passed away. And I think it was from, was she an overdose of drugs?
Yeah, I think it was overdose. She took too many or something.
Man, and that's, I mean, it's sad because she had got herself clean. And to die like this, man, that's rough.
You know, well, I think what really makes it rough for her, man, is people know you. Once you have a reality show, you're not just the crazy mama in the house. Now you the crazy mama, and everybody knows you. You know what's funny about being a celebrity? One of the things I am most uncomfortable with is people knowing me that I don't know. I'm serious. When people come up to me and they know me and I don't know them, my wife would be like, "Hey, honey, they from here or from there, or what you did this or did that." That is one of the most uncomfortable things for me. And being a celebrity like that, that's one of the things you have to get used to. And it's one thing for your family to know you. It's a completely different thing for everybody to know you. And that show was really popular. Everybody know Crazy Frankie. Everybody know Crazy Frankie.
Yeah. She became pretty popular off that. And like you said, man, the public persona, the whole nine. Most people think they want fame. Then they get it and they realize their life really ain't theirs anymore. And the whole nine. That's stress, man.
I don't think people want fame. They want what fame brings. But they don't actually want the fame. You know, not being able to go shopping to the malls, that kind of thing. They got to close them all down because people acting the fool and faint because you there. I've been out to Grapevine Mills before. I've seen people faint. I have been there. I'm telling you. Oh, God, man. God. I don't know.
I don't like going nowhere with him. I can't even get nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Oh, there go Yogi. It's Yogi.
There you go, sir, man.
So everybody is out and about again. Seems like people got back to normal pretty fast. But hold on real quick, because they say there's a new Delta variant of the coronavirus that they're looking to hit think later on this year. Is it later on?
Man, I think it's on its way. I think it's on its way, like chicken at the 4th of July barbecue. It is on its way. And listen, man, and what's crazy about it is people have take off their mask. They've taken off their masks.
Yeah.
You got to at least have it somewhere because we're not completely out of the woods yet. Because I know when we went to Vegas, man, nobody was wearing masks. They was like, we free, we out of here, we about to do this thing, and nobody's wearing masks. And now you got the Delta coming back, and it's coming back with a vengeance, man.
Yeah, because you got people that don't believe it. You know, it's a hoax, it's a fluke, all this kind of stuff. Then you got people, because they telling us, you got the vaccine, you good. Go back to life. Then people like, you still want to social distance. And it's like, man, we get so many conflicting messages about everything. So if it comes in, a Delta variant comes in, are we prepared for it? You think we prepared for it?
I don't think we prepared for it. No, because we so ready to be free. We are really ready to be free. And I think we're willing to risk our health and things like that for it. And you really, listen. I want to get out and kick it just like everybody else do. Maybe not as hard as y'all want to, but I want to get out and do things too. But man, we got to be safe about it. We got to be safe about it. We got to be safe about it. If you don't want to be safe for me, and I'm gonna be safe for you. Because we got to be safe for each other.
Yeah, you got to look out for other people, and I think that's part of the problem. Man, we selfish as a people, man. In society, we selfish. We don't think about the next person. It's all about me and my rights and all this kind of stuff. We don't care who our rights hurt. And so, yeah, it's crazy. Everybody is out for themselves. Now,
hey,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, hey, man, I get it. You've been tied to that tree in the backyard for a year and a half.
Right, that eagerness to get out, man, is messing people up.
Yeah.
And people miss companionship. They miss, especially people that didn't have families. They were single, locked up in the house by themselves. They ready to get out and mingle and get back to the bars, get back to the clubs and all this type of stuff so they can get with somebody.
Hit them in the head and drag them in the house with you and lock it up.
Surprisingly enough, you talk about people going out, hitting the clubs, hooking up and all this type of stuff. When it comes to couples, it's the study that says most couples begin as friends first. I mean, you believe it? What you think about it?
I definitely think that it's interesting because there are no walls up. When you friends, you don't send your representative. You're not trying to be on your best behavior. You just can go in there and try to figure out if they're good enough for you to hang with. So there's no pressure. There's no pressure of the sexual thing, electricity, stuff that we have for each other. That's not the pressure. We're just trying to see if we're cool enough to go have a drink or something together. And I think I can believe it because if you can be friends, you definitely can be married.
Mm-hmm. You think the romantic movies and all this, the soap operas, they didn't set us up for failure when it comes to relationships?
Well, if that's what we're looking for when we see them, it's one thing. I remember the Cosby Show used to come on, and people used to say, "Hey, man, the Cosby Show was great for what it did, but that's not what reality is." And too many times we see movies and stuff like that. And for example, I remember watching Castaway. And so the guy had left, him and his wife was madly in love. And he had got on this plane and went out to the Castaway Island, and 5 years later he came back. And she was talking about, I know you was alive. I know you was alive. I said, I'm thinking to myself, bruh, no. She'd have had 5 kids by the time you got back. She'd have had 5 kids by the time you came back. And she wouldn't even remember you by the time you got back. Because that's what we do now. Those are movies. They are beautiful, but that's love. Most of the time, that's not what we come across.
Right. No, that ain't. It's hard to find, man. You know, and but you got everybody looking. Everybody looking for relationships. They want to be in relationships and the whole nine. But going about it, I don't know if people going about it the right way. So what we want to talk about tonight is what do you bring to the table? Right? It's talking about the relationship table. What do you bring to the table? Now, this is a question that a lot of people ask when it comes to getting with somebody, assessing the person that they want to be with or a potential mate. What do you bring to the table? Girl sits down with a guy and says, okay, so what you bring to the table? This is the question. Is it a fair question?
Well, it is a fair question, but I'm curious. I'm curious to what our listeners think. To the all 25 people that are listening right now, 25 to 35,000 people listening. I'm curious to think, what do you guys think it means when someone says bring to the table? What do you immediately think of when you hear bringing something to the table? Because contrary to what you think, guys, everybody is bringing something.
Yeah.
Everybody is bringing something to the table.
Yeah.
You bring peas, potatoes, something. You bringing something to the table.
Plasticware, some napkins,
You bringing something to the
table. But I'm listening. I'm on Clubhouse the other day, and somebody had asked a similar question. The actual question, it was a phrase somebody put out, basically says, no man should live under a woman's covering. And within that, they got into this conversation about the whole bringing to the table stuff. And so they talking to this young lady about bringing something to the table. And so she goes into her spiel about what she brings to the table. And, you know, I bring my femininity, and I'm a Christian, so I'm submissive. And so guys was like, all right, so what does that mean though? What does that mean? Because we hear the roundabout stuff all the time, but what does that mean? Let's see. Pastor Sam says most people think of stuff, but they should be looking for wholeness. Cheryl says to bring something to the table is bringing what I have to offer. Okay, good. All right, Cheryl. But the thing is, if you were to list it out,
what would it be?
What would it be?
What would it be? And let me give y'all, you can't put booty, sex, or none of that stuff like that on good loving, or none of that on your list, because that should be a given. Okay?
Is the table intimidating?
Well, I think anytime you're questioning what someone is able to bring. So with that, you're forcing me to look at myself and to see what I have to offer. I think that's the difficult thing about people. Most people can tell you what they expect you to bring, but anytime you're forced to look within and say, hey, what am I doing? I think that's the most difficult thing for most people.
I can see it being intimidating if you haven't done the work. So that says that there should be some work that you should be doing on the front end before you even come to the table. And I think that the reason why the table is so intimidating is because now everything that I've done, I haven't done is on display. It's out there for somebody else to judge. Mm-hmm. So this is what the problem with the table. The table turns into this value assessment. Let's see. Dwayne Hunter says, I think bringing something to the table depends on where a person is in life. What he has to bring and she has to bring could be different. Can we put that together? And can we put that together and make something?
Absolutely.
Great point.
Absolutely.
Great point.
And Dwayne, and what Dwayne is saying, if I'm wrong, I think the older you get, the more stuff you have to bring to the table. the more established you are, the better your credit is, the more structured your life is, the more planning you've done in your life, the more you're going to have to bring to the table. Now, I don't want you guys get this confused, because this is not a financial thing, but that does weigh into it. Okay. So, but I don't want to think it's all finances, but it's a lot of finances, because if you come over to my house and you coming to date my daughter, I want to know that you're going to be able to take care of her. What are you bringing over to my house? Because you taking it from my house over to your house. And so can you sustain and do what I'm doing, if not better? So you have to bring something. What do you have? Tell me some plans. Give me a cardboard cutout. Tell me what tell me something. I am serious. Dude, you know what, man?
Presentation.
You gotta give me these.
No.
Listen, it's as serious as it is to you. I'm taking it more serious than you are, because this is somebody's daughter. This is somebody's daughter that you saying that you want to be in a relationship with. Man, that's serious to me, because that could be my daughter. And I don't want her calling to my dad, the light's about to get turned off, or daddy, he ain't treating me right, or dad, this woman keep calling the house that he used to date. All this stuff, that's stuff that you bring to the table. You bringing can you bring a wholeness to the table, like Pastor Sam said? You're gonna make me get on my soapbox, because too many times what we doing is we're not through with these other relationships before we're trying to bring something to this table, and you still sitting at the other table. D, what's that song, D? D, what's that song? We talked about it. What's the song?
Which one? We talked about a few of them.
Yeah. Your mind is here with me.
Oh, your body's here with me. It's here with me. And your mind is on the other side of town. Older people used to tell you, when people used to actually sit at the table, and maybe grandma, big mama, something fixed the food, and you just came back in from playing outside, and she tell you, go get washed up before you come to this table. Go get clean. Don't you come to this table with your dirty hands, all dingy and stuff. Don't come to this table like that. And I think that's a problem we have with this table. First thing you should do is clean up before you come to the table. What do I mean by clean up? Don't come with a whole lot of mess. If you got unhealthy past relationship or romantic ties, you got to clean it up. If you got baggage, you got to clean that up before you come.
You know why we don't tell people that we got that? You know why we come to the table with that stuff with us? Because we're scared of what somebody's going to say. We're scared they're going to reject us. We're scared they're going to say, listen, right now, listen, you got too much going on. I'm going to have to holler at you. And my advice is this on that. If that's the case, so be it. Because I would rather you be honest about what you have going on in your life. Give me an opportunity to decide. I might just decide, well, hey, listen, maybe we could be friends while you try to get that stuff worked out. Because I don't want to put any more on your plate than you want me to put on your plate.
Okay, so Thurl came back. She said, I would bring organization because I'm analytical. I analyze everything. I analyze how I can make it better. All right, so she says she brings organization, and her analytical skills she brings to the table. That's tangible. Now, here's my thing, kind of based on what you just said. What if that guy doesn't need that? Does that mean that you have less value?
No, that just means if we're going to make this work, we have to find a way. There has to be something besides. We have to make that tangible. There is something that we can do. Now, generally what happens is, if you're organized, I'm generally not. Generally, in relationships, one is the yin to the other one's yang. Rarely do you find two people that like the same things. That generally comes after you've been together, when you start compromising on, okay, yeah, I watch some sports. Yeah, I watch some HGTV. But most of the time when we come to the table, we're generally opposites of each other. So if she's bringing that, more likely than not, he's going to need what she's bringing more times than not. And then if you find out that's not the case, perhaps then I would really take a closer look at that and say, is this, we don't really compliment each other, because you should be complimenting each other. Am I lying? Do you agree?
No, you're absolutely right. But here's the problem. When I go to the table, I bring what I have to the table, and the person, how they reject me is key. Because you can say, hey, that's not for me. That's not what I need. But I don't think that's what people are doing. People are saying what you have ain't nothing.
No, true.
And that's different, because it may not be anything to you, but to somebody it means something.
Well, but most of the time we're getting caught up on the monetary aspect of it. If I'm now, because it's like, normally it's like this. If I'm a millionaire, I don't need you to bring that aspect to the table, the money aspect to the table. I need you to bring organization. I need you to bring the cookeration. I need you to bring dishology to the table. I need you to bring kids alphabetically to the table. I need you to bring baby watching the kids ology to the table. I need all that. That's what I'm gonna need if I'm a millionaire, and because again, there's something that I need from you. There may not be money. Now, if I'm not a millionaire, I may need you to bring whatever your income is to the table. I may need you to bring let's say if I'm a thousandaire, I may need you to bring your thousandaire to the table so we can get closer to that millionaire thing. Perhaps we can work together to build something. It's all in the conversation. It's all in the conversation. A lot of times we're not having as much conversation as we probably should be having.
Okay, so when we talk about the financial part, what is it about the millionaire status?
Because people tend to think because I'm a millionaire, all you can bring to me is the bouquet. I'm because think about this. Oftentimes people will say, "Well, wow, he just got her because she's arm candy or something." But again, we sell ourselves short, because that's not what he did. Now it don't help. It don't hurt to be at your best as well. But I'm simply saying, I think it becomes that when he or she has all things covered. Because if my wife was a millionaire or billionaire, I would be arm candy, and I'm fine with that. But I will be cooking. I will be a dishology major. I will be a foodology major, because I'll be cooking the dinner. I'll be running the kids and I would be good with that, because because when we get together, that will have to be something to talk about. What do you bring? What I bring? If I'm not where you are, and you don't, I'm here to be what you need me to be. What do you need? Because this is my resume. This is what I got ready. This is what I'm bringing.
Right.
Okay, we can use this, and this. Now, if I'm a millionaire, she's a millionaire, then there's gonna have to be some compromise.
Well, Clint said it's not about the candy. It's a lot more than that. Here's the thing that I think trips people up about the whole finance thing. If you can take care of the basic essentials, food, shelter, clothing, the whole nine, if you got that, if you were fine, why even come to the table to begin with?
Because we want companionship. Nobody wants to be by themselves. Contrary to what people say, there's nothing like Listen, there is nothing like having a lot of money, a lot of success, and you don't have nobody to share it with. Really, you don't have anybody to share with. What's the use?
Yeah. And people don't. I don't think people think that far into it. I think they just think about right now in the moment. And then too, we get so mixed up because we don't lead with conversation. We lead to the bedroom first and then try to figure it out. Where you already got up from the table and what's coming, you hadn't really saw what this person was bringing. And so now when you need to walk away, the walk away isn't so easy.
But see, that's the trick part of right here. Because you know what a dinner party is about, D. People think it's about coming together to eat, and it's not. It's not. It's when my wife taught me and my boys etiquette, and she says anytime you're at the table with a bunch of other people, it's mainly meant for conversation. She says so when you pick up your fork, you put just a little bit of food on it so you can eat it real quick and you can talk. The main thing that you're supposed to be doing at this table is talking. Talking. Again, conversation. Conversation is key. And we're trying to skip over it because we're trying to either drag our money to the table so we don't have to do that much talking, or we're trying to bring whatever else we bring it so we don't have to do the talking. But that is what the table is for. It's for talking about what can be added to the relationship that we're trying to establish.
I think that's a great point. We don't know how to talk. Most people don't. We don't know how to communicate about. We could communicate about a whole lot of stuff. We can tell people our opinions, our thoughts, our feelings, but we can't tell people exactly our fears, because it's really what it is. When you come to the table, there's a fear that you're not gonna have your needs met. That's assuming you know what the needs are to begin with. Okay. Bobby says that's a great point, John. And that is the tool that our generation has not done a good enough job handing down to our children.
Absolutely, Bobby. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Thanks for watching. But he's absolutely right though. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because one is they kind of glazed over it. And I think because they glazed over it because we didn't think it was important enough to talk to them about how things are supposed to be done.
Clint say, what are you taking from the table other than just waiting for the food to eat? Oh, so Clint bring up a point. Are you coming to the table just thinking about what you gonna eat, what you gonna get?
I think everybody should have an expectation when they come to the table. Everybody should get up from the table with something, knowing that much more about the person and more so knowing a lot about themselves. Because again, I think the problem most of the time, man, is we don't want to know. We're going to feel inadequate when it comes down to what exactly we bring. Because and to be honest, depending on the age, most people don't know what they bring. Most people have never stopped to think about what I bring to a relationship, how I can make this relationship last, how much better I can make us. A lot of things about that.
But should there be a certain expectation with age? For instance, if you talking about the table with somebody in their early 20s, finances probably ain't gonna be the thing you know.
Oh no. Well,
or you will be discussing it because it ain't a given that it's taken care of.
It's funny. Thinking back when we were dating in our 20s, oh man, money was scarce to both of us. It was scarce. And we didn't know we were learning practically everything together. But again, that's what we brought to the table. We brought that to the table. Hey, I don't know. We don't know. So, hey, so we can learn this stuff together. It gave us something to look forward to. And we got to stop looking at everything like it's a negative. Like it's negative. Your insecurities or your inadequacies are not a negative. They can be a positive as long as you're willing to learn them. If you can express what you don't know openly to somebody, you can be blessed enough to say, wow, I don't know that, and now I can do something to change it. That's the thing. Nobody wants to be honest and tell people really what's going on with them. Because if you can tell me yours, I can tell you mine, or vice versa.
Bobby says, finance won't be important to a 20-year-old until we start instilling that as a priority when kids are in their early teens. And Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it financial literacy? Is that what we're talking about, financial literacy? Because if I have the literacy, if I understand money, understand how to manage it and how it works, then I know, although I start here, I'll finish a whole lot stronger, a whole lot better. Should
Well,
that be the
what-
expectation for somebody in their 20s?
Yes, it should, because if you understand the importance of money and what money does, you also understand when I'm taking on somebody else what I'm going to need. Because my blessing of a son thanks everybody. Everything costs $300 because that's what his check is. So he assumes that rent, cars, houses, everything costs $300. And that's because we hadn't. I don't want to say we hadn't taken the time, but that their generation is that's where he's at. Everything must be $300 because that's all the money that I got.
And it's amazing how he just fixed his mind to say what I got is enough.
You know, as long as you have mom and dad, it's gonna be, and maybe that's what he knows.
I think they kind of go back to Bobby's point, is giving them, setting some realistic expectations in their mind before they actually get out. So if they're approached about this thing, or they're trying to, have a relationship with somebody, they can speak with more confidence and more intelligently about their position financially.
That's what we hope. That's what we're hoping.
Monique says, yes, financial literacy is important at any age. We have to start those conversations earlier. We absolutely do, because the problem is we're not taught financial literacy at an early age, and typically you get it later in life. But by that time, now, if you are judged, if I'm 35, 40, and I'm judged based on how much I have, and I didn't get a good head start because my financial literacy didn't kick in to late 20s.
I'm trying to catch up.
I'm trying to catch up, which means either I'm probably not going to be as available that I would be had I started earlier, or my financial level is not going to be attractive to somebody my age.
True. And most of the time we don't what's the word that we don't want to price ourselves out of something as well too, because what if she comes from a financial literate home and that's not where you come from? Now when you go to, if y'all are eating, if y'all at the table and she's talking about all the accomplishments she's done as far as money, she got stocks, she got 401ks, she got this and that, and you not bringing that to the table. Now, there's one or two things that can happen. You can either lie and make it seem like you got all that together, which she'll probably find out as soon as you keep talking. Or you can say, hey, listen, I wasn't fortunate enough to get that. Perhaps if we come together, you can bring me up to speed with that stuff. Because I'm out here and I don't know nothing.
And you know what? That happened to me. That happened to me. I didn't come from a family where financial literacy was our strong suit. It wasn't. We came up in poverty. It was all about survival. And anybody who understands poverty, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're not thinking about planning for the future. It's all about month to month, I'm trying to get by.
It's all about eating today.
Right? Right? When you starve and 401ks don't come to mind, you know what I'm saying? But here's the problem. The problem is recognizing when that threat is no longer there, because you're still operating like the threat is there, and it's messing up your finances when you could be moving towards a better financial state. But because you hadn't recognized where you are, now you get caught up. So my wife, she comes from, her family had a better financial literacy than mine did. And so when she looking at me, she like, bruh, I don't know about this. And it's as embarrassing as it, and listen, you want embarrassment when people talk about finances. This is where embarrassment sets in. This is where people get defensive. This is where, you know what I'm saying? Because your finances tell where your true values are. That's what happens. You can't say, I'm a saver, and then somebody say, let me see your savings account.
Wait a minute, stop. Why you in my business like that? Why are you up in my business? I said I saved. Now I said I saved. Just because I got every PlayStation game that ever came out don't mean that I ain't saving money. Just because I got all these clothes and this car with rims on the outside don't mean I ain't saving money. And now you want to make excuses. Now we start making excuses for what we're doing. And again, I believe if you're willing to admit your inadequacies, they would stop being your inadequacies because you would do something about them and make them your strengths.
Bobby says, so I say that a young adult that is already financially stable is at least second generation to do so. So then expectations from his or her parents are at a different level for who they date or bring home. Absolutely right. Bobby speaking truth. If you are if you're the second generation, then when you can't just go bring some first generation dude home, it's gonna be a situation. Now I'm gonna tell you, listen, Bobby, I'm telling you, this was my story. I had the potential, had a degree, smart guy, can do stuff, whatever, but I did not have that financial literacy. I did have a desire to learn. That was one thing I did have.
But say, D, again, if you want it, if you want to, and you just not stuck on stupid and want something better and understand that the way I was doing it was wrong, the way I came up was wrong. If you can do that, there is hope for anybody. Let me just say that, because it don't always work out like that. That Bobby, you are correct, and I agree, but it doesn't always work out that way, because I'm gonna just say it doesn't always work out that way.
Frederick says, I've been a stunner my whole life, meaning I've been dumb with doing that, not thinking about future needs, just wanting to get wants. Not thinking about future needs, just wanting to get wants. But when you have to do real life stuff, it changes how you spend money. You absolutely right. And here's the key, Fred. You said a mouthful. You got to anticipate life happening.
Cause it is.
Exactly.
Whether you anticipate it or not, it is coming. It is coming like the light bill. You keep them lights on and the light bill coming. It is coming. It will behoove you to start thinking about life, because life is definitely coming. And go ahead.
I'm sitting outside Walmart. I'm in the fire lane. I'm parked there in the fire lane. My wife ran in. She was coming right back out. And this couple comes out. And they having an argument. I'm in the car. I can't necessarily hear what they're saying, but I'm watching the expression. And the girlfriend, wife, whoever, she is giving the guy the business. She is ripping him a new one. She is going in on him. And everything in me, I knew it had to be they got to the register. Money she thought they had, they didn't have. And so it comes out. Now the story is told. You swipe your card, and now I got to be honest. She comes out, she giving him the business. And I'm like, all right, sister, pull up. He had that look of remorse on his face, like, man, I messed up. I'm sorry, I messed up. And she kept digging into him, and I'm like, pull up. But more important than that, D. More important than that, because it's gonna take us to the right. But more important than that, perhaps she didn't. That conversation wasn't talked about. Not the fact that he didn't know what he was doing with money, but that there was issues with money with him. See, because that's more important, because obviously she was trusting him with something that she shouldn't have been trusting him with. Perhaps she should have taken it. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps something else should have been done about it. You can't wait till you get to the register to say, honey, I ain't tell you I had a drinking problem or a gambling problem or I had problems with money. You can't do it. That's not when you do it. The table is set that we're bringing you to where that type of stuff is supposed to be talked about then. And again, as much as it would appear
that we're talking about money. That's not the case. Money is just one of that. Now, your discipline with money tends to fall into everything else that you're doing, but that's not the whole thing. But that really, your financial literacy is very important. I think that's a given with any relationship. I think everybody needs to bring that to the table. If you're not, you need to get it. What was did Mika say something?
No, Mika was saying, she was saying it's about desire to want to do better. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And no, for me, really, me giving my life to Christ was the thing that kicked in gear for me, because I knew I couldn't just live any kind of way. If I'm going to represent him, I couldn't live any kind of way, but it made me get myself together. Plus, she had expectations.
There you go. Now, see, yes and yes, but when we start getting and I hate to say this, but upper echelon people, and when I talk about upper echelon people, that's going to expect more from you. You have to get yourself together to where you can provide that, because it's in you. You know what I'm saying? Dude, yep. Man, if you want hood girl from the block, oh yeah, that's what's up. You can do that. We can do this. But if you want more than that, you're going to have to get yourself to where when you do come to the table, you're bringing an eagerness to be better.
Bobby says, where I'm from, we didn't talk about portfolios in our 20s. My kids are in their 20s and have these conversations with their friends. They talk about crypto accounts, Robinhood accounts, and stocks. This tells me that their generation would have different expectations. And this is because, Bobby, because you took a worry off their plate. They had the basic things covered. They didn't have to worry about where they're gonna lay their head, what food they're gonna put in their mouth that night. And see, when you have these things covered, you're free to think about other things. And that's why the table is so important. It helps me determine what the true worries are gonna be. What are the true worries? If finances are not a worry, now I know I need to focus on something else, because I can't assume that finances is gonna make everything all right. That just means my basic needs are covered. I know where I'm gonna lay my head, what I'm gonna eat, all that. Plus, I know there's some security because we have the ability to sustain this, at least for a good amount of time. Doesn't mean people won't fall on hard times, but typically, if you have the wherewithal to build it, you have the wherewithal to build it back up. But there are a whole lot of other things too. And if we're not talking about this, then we'll miss that. We'll focus on finances and we'll miss a whole lot of other stuff that can disrupt this. Like, what about emotional needs?
Yes. And the wholeness, like Pastor talked about. What about if you're working all the time? What about if your job owns you 24 hours a day? What about if you can't really be there because you're so money driven? You're so, I'm working all the time, I don't have time for nothing else. Well, in a relationship, you're going to need your partner is going to need something besides you being at work all day. It does not matter how much stuff you buy them. I remember I was going to work one night. I was working the second job I had got. And my son looked at me. He was like, "Hey, Dad, you going to work again?" I was like, "Yeah, son, I'm going to get this money." He said, "Yeah, but I was hoping we could have family night." Basically, he was saying, "Listen, man, we good. You doing all that extra for you. We good. Everything up in here is good. Can we get some family time?" And a lot of the times, emotional needs are just you being there. Mm-hmm. Can you be there? Do you expect them to be there for you? Because listen, man, being driven is one thing. Being drove is another.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
They didn't hear me. Being driven is one thing. Being drove is another. And when you're young, you have a tendency to want to work all the time in relation. And while you working all the time, somebody else is coming through the back door. They working too. Listen, these are things that need to be talked about. These are things, emotional, physical, all that stuff needs to be talked about at the table. Because if you got money and you don't have nothing else, you're not doing anybody no good, including yourself.
I think Bobby agrees with you. Said that's the challenge today, John. I show my kids financially that it can be better, but I for sure have sacrificed time with my kids that I will never get back.
Right. Yes.
And these are things you gotta accept. Mr. Joe. you gotta if you gonna get into a relationship with somebody, this is the conversation you gotta have, because this is the realities that you're going to face in a relationship. And I don't think people really look at the realities of relationships to the point so they can actually have the true conversation they need to have.
Because there's a certain amount of work that's going to need to be done when you're young so you can enjoy yourself when you get older. And both of you have to understand somebody is going to have to grind somewhere. Somebody going to have to work some nights. Somebody going to have to do some extra hours. Somebody's going to have to do some stuff, especially when you're younger. Normally, this is what we had to do. And my wife was understanding that, hey, listen, honey, I know we got the new baby. I know you got to go get it now. Go on out there and go get it. Work nights, I work weekends, holidays, all that, because we needed somebody to go get it. And that was me. But there was an understanding about it. There was an expectation about it. This is what we have to have in this moment. But it was talked about. I didn't go into the relationship with her working like that and her getting into this thing, not understanding, not knowing what was going to be expected of her and me. See, you got to let people know what the expectation is. Got too many times we just go in with a nigga because she fine and you cute. Well, let me tell you something. It ain't going to always be that way. I'm still fine and cute, but most people don't be like me, though.
One thing you got to be careful. Most guys have an ideal in their head. And when you get the woman and you find out she's not your ideal, now you get disappointed. You got to understand going into that, most women they're not going to be your ideal. They're not going to meet up with the expectation you have in your mind. So you got to be realistic about what you're expecting. And women too. Women have to be realistic too. But
yes,
how do you get to that realness? How do you sober yourself with all the stuff you got out here to intoxicate you with the wrong ideas, social media, reality shows, the whole nine? How do you sober yourself?
We have to be honest with ourselves, D. Listen, y'all, too many times we tell ourselves one thing and it's completely different. We have to be honest with ourselves. Listen, man, if you lower raise your expectations for you and lower them for everybody else. If you do that, you'll be good. If you raise your expectation of you and lower them for everybody else, you are in an excellent place. You are in a good place. You will never be disappointed by anybody else. But too many times we want to raise the we want you to be a 22 and we don't like working out all the time. Make me understand that. Make me understand that. We got to wrestle you to the gym, but you want me in shape with a six-pack. Somebody stop me now.
Because it ain't about how you look, it's about how you make me look.
Did the people in the back hear that?
I don't think
y'all heard it in the back.
It ain't about how you look, it's about how you make me look.
And how you make me feel about me. When I should be feeling that way without you with me anyway.
Exactly. Which says there's already a problem with how I feel about myself. You cannot go to the relationship table like that. You have got to get honest with yourself.
Yes.
And stop thinking y'all got everything worked out and y'all got it together.
Just because you got one of them online things don't mean you got it all together. It means you still young enough to where you can take your clothes off and get people to pay you for it.
All right. Fred says if you're not real with you'll be real in real life. Fakeness doesn't work in the real world. And so they don't get you far at all. Bobby says discipline to know what your personal goals are and not accept anything to take you away from those goals. But how many 20-year-olds can say no to that physical attraction? Well, that takes discipline. That takes discipline. And the thing is, that type of discipline is not endorsed in our society. We live in a do what you feel society. Not saying do what you feel, but it's gonna cost you at some point. So you gotta weigh it against the cost. You gonna pay.
If you know, whatever you don't have discipline for, generally you will be made to have discipline in another area about that particular thing. For example, you don't have to have discipline with your Johnson, but child support is amazing. We'll put you on something monthly that makes you have discipline. You don't have to have Johnny tied up. You ain't got to tie him up, but it's something every month coming until they're 18 that's gonna make you have discipline about paying this particular payment. Discipline is coming whether you bring it or whether somebody else bring it, but it's coming.
Oh, you just said it. Either you be driven or you're gonna get drove. One blank period.
Dude, right. You're right.
I remember Les Brown would say, he says, if you make your way hard, life will be easy.
Yeah.
If you make your way easy, life will be hard. I mean, do the hard things first.
Get it over with. Get it over with.
Get it over with. Things be easy on the back end. But most people, we go for the easy things first, and then life gets hard on the back end. And that's most of our story.
It's the same with our relationships, D. The hard part of the relationships is getting to know and trying to adjust to each other and figure out what we're going to do with each other. It's too easy to jump into bed. That's the easy part. Now the tough part is trying to figure out how you guys going to stay together. Do the hard part first, and it gets easier when you understand what you guys bring to the table and how you can complement each other. It's going to be booty when it ain't nothing else, y'all. You hear me? Look at me when I tell you that. It is going to be booty when it ain't nothing else. You got to look past the booty. I don't care how it's sticking out and ripe and plump. It's going to always be that way. It ain't going to, I believe it ain't going to be that way. It's going to sag. It's going to have dents in it. Listen to me, I'm telling you.
And fellas, let me tell you, if the needs ain't taken care of, if she don't know for sure how she gonna eat, where she gonna sleep, and stuff like that, ain't no access. You get no access to that. So
right. It just, again, it's too easy. It's things need to be more difficult at the beginning of the relationship while you're trying to figure each other out. You can do it easy if you want to, but it's gonna be some hard in there somewhere. Hard is it, like he said, it's either gonna be at the front end or the back end. While you're at the table, it's the difficult part when you're trying to show who you are and what you actually bring to the table. That's the difficult part. If you can get past that, you good. Final thoughts.
All right, final thoughts. Go for it, my man.
All right. So my final thought for this evening is this, and I often say this, and I'm really serious about this. You know, people deserve, when we looking for mates or looking for somebody to spend our lives with or do life with, we want their very best. So don't you owe it to them to be the very best person that you can be for you? If you're the very, very best person, if you learn as much as you can, doing as much as you can, making sure that you are presenting yourself in the best light you can, then you can expect someone else to do the same. Now you have a different level of expectation. But if you don't put that level of expectation on you, you can't demand it from somebody else. That's my final thought. Yeah.
You know, it's hard. It's hard dealing with the things we deal with in life, and then you try to bring that with somebody else, and it makes it that much more difficult. But the problem is we try to distract ourselves from our own work, and a lot of times we use relationships to do this. Your relationships you get in can't be distractions from the work that you do on yourself. Matter of fact, you need to do the work on yourself first to be better prepared for the relationships that you take on. Because there's a certain level of maturity that you need in relationships, and nothing matures you like doing your own work, being disciplined and doing the things you have to do on the front end. This is what we got to be about. We got to know the work we have to do. Know thyself. The Bible even says that, know thyself. Know who you are. Know what really makes you tick. And work on the things you need to work on before you bring it to somebody else. You want to bring somebody quality and value and things of that nature, not a whole bunch of mess. So get cleaned up, then go to the table and be ready. And that's our King speak for this week.
That's some great stuff, bro. That's some good stuff. Good
There
stuff.
we go, man. Another one in the books. And we appreciate everybody that stopped by tonight. Saw a few people: Bobby, Mika, Fred, Pastor Sam, Monique, all of y'all. We appreciate y'all. And Cheryl, thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Let people know what we doing. You like it. Also, subscribe to our podcast. You know, go to Apple, Google, Spotify. You can find us there, and you can listen whenever you feel like it. Right? Whenever you feel like it, you can go listen to it.
Tell somebody. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. Tell somebody about us. Don't keep this out. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Y'all tell somebody about it.
All right, we appreciate y'all. We here every Monday, 7 o'clock. We'll be back next Monday. Peace out. We'll see y'all next week.
Be blessed.